so this is my new disaster recovery setup. I've moved sites to a different site, but yeah, it's quite a nice setup. So if I give you a little tour of it here, we have the firewall router here, and that is a Sophos XG125 unit, which is quite nice. Because it doesn't need to be overkill or anything. So see, it's got a couple of DC bell jack power inputs there. I've only got one power supply at the moment. That takes a 12 volt 3 amp power supply. It's got HDMI output and USB sort of KVM access, as well as a USB COM0 port and an RJ45 COM port, and then another USB port. It's got an SFP cage, that's for 1 gig, and then we've got 8 gigabit ports here. So I am using quite a few of them here, but the first one is LAN, so that's like a local access. If I need to locally access it here, that's like a LAN port. That's gives us an IP address in the 192.168.10.0./24 range. Then we got the WAN coming in here on port 2 on here, and then we got the DMZ is actually iDRAC for the Dell server. I'll show you that in a second. The 2 on the end, actually the lag, so it's a lag LACP dual port that's going into the server. That's to serve the VLANs for my setup here. And then just underneath there somewhere we've got a port, and that is just serving this wireless access point in this garage here, and that is just for the to connect the solar system, because it needs Wi-Fi and there's no Wi-Fi out here, so that's why this is here. And it's quite lucky because that's why this network connection is here. I'll show you the other end in the house after. Yeah, so yeah, that's a nice little unit. It's running pfSense, and yeah, quite impressed with it. It's running, yeah, it can saturate a gigabit link anyway. I've tested it at home on my 5 gigabit internet connection, read straight through. Yeah, and it can max out a gig even on WireGuard VPN, but I'll show you that on the GUI later on. Then we got a UPS here. It's a CyberPower 1500 EPC, what a model is, but yeah, it's essentially a 900 VA, no, it's 1500 VA capacity, but yeah, it's more than enough for here. So yeah, that's great. It's got yeah, it's USB on the front if you need them. You've got a nice display here, so you can see exactly what it's outputting right now, and what the load is, and what the battery level is, and if it's online, everything like that. And then around the back, I don't know if I'll be able to show you that around the back, but it's got 4 kettle lead outputs, I call them, kettle lead, for like servers and everything. And it's got normal 3-pin plugs as well, which is handy. That's why I can plug this router in. So yeah, a really nice unit. Then we got the server, so I've gone for the Dell PowerEdge T430 server, which matched up nicely with some of the R730s I've got at home, which are the 2U models that are basically from the same generation. But yeah, I got a deal on this on eBay, so it's quite nice. It's got, open that up, it's got yeah, CD drive, don't use that, but crucially it's got 8 3.5-inch bays there. I'm only going to be using 4 of them. I need to put the hard drives in from the other site, but yeah, I'll be running 4 hard drives, which will be passed through to the TrueNAS VM. But yeah, it's nice. Got a nice little screen there, and crucially, it's got an iDRAC port on the back as well. So it's quite nice. I've only got a basic setup there, but it's got dual power supply and everything. So yeah, that's the DR site. Okay, so now we've looked at the physical side, let's jump onto the virtual side of the setup. So first of all, this is the web GUI of the pfSense router. So that's router firewall that's running on that little Sophos XG unit we just showed you. So as you can see here, I logged in. It's got an Intel Atom CPU C3508 running at 1.60 gigahertz. It's a 4-core CPU. Like I said, it doesn't need to be excessively overkill on this one, because we're not doing 10 gigabit speeds like I am at my main house here. It's just mainly up to a gigabit, and I'll run it fine. I got hardware encryption enabled on it in case we need it. So yes, we got all the interfaces. We got the 2 gateways here. So we got the RAN DHCP. So you can see that's a private address. It's because we're having to do a bit of double NAT due to the way the host router is set up at the DR site. It's one of these lovely all-in-one units the ISP gave out, where even though it's full fibre, usually full fibre you get an ONT, which is like a separate connection for fibre. Fibre comes in and activates it to an RJ45 copper port, which you can just plug into usually any router to get round not having to use a router. But on this occasion, they've used an all-in-one unit where it's an ONT and router all in one. There's no way of getting around that unless you start messing around with custom third-party ONTs. But to be honest, I've got it working for what I need. It's not 100% ideal, but it works. So there we go. So it's double natted, and as you can see, I've got a second gateway here. That's the WireGuard VPN gateway, and I'll show you that configuration in a second. So you see here the physical interfaces, where we've got the RAN port, the LAN, which is not being used. That's sort of like a local setup port there. SN-FAR LAN, that's the it's like a bit of a separate LAN for the for where I've got it hosted. It's basically running a wireless AP in the garage, which may just feeds the things like the solar inverter and the smart charger. So that's why that's there. And then we've got so these aren't needed anymore. This is where I had it at my previous site. I had some other networks set up ready for that, but these aren't needed anymore because I've changed site. And then we've got the iDRAC, so that's basically just feeding the iDRAC port of the Dell server. And then we got some VLANs, because basically I've got that trunk port. I've got 2 physical interfaces. There's a lag port between the router and the Dell server, and that gives host to these 3 VLANs here. So that's VLAN 151, which is my DR internal servers. And then I've got DMC, DR DMC servers on VLAN 251, and finally VLAN 501 for DR management, all on different subnets there. So like I said, it's a nice little unit. It's been running fine now for a few weeks. So you've got some, I'm not sure why we're getting these errors there, and got PF blocker enabled. Okay, so we'll jump into the VPN settings now, and you can see I'm using WireGuard, and that's because I was using IPsec on my previous DR setup, and that's because it's a Fortinet firewall, so it's sort of a sort of thing to have IPsec site to site. When I was setting up this new DR setup, obviously I switched to pfSense for my router file, which matches what I've got at home here. And I did try out, because I set it up here at sort of like a lab environment at my home first, and I struggled to get OpenVPN site-to-site working. I've got it working, for another site-to-site I've got running to my parents' house, but I just couldn't get it for what I needed. It just wasn't working, and I was under a bit of pressure, so I thought I'll try it WireGuard because I've heard good things about that, and yeah, I followed the instructions, set it up, and it works. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. So you see here, I've got a tunnel set up, and yeah, obviously we blank out some stuff on this screen. So yeah, so you got your tunnel, you got. And you got your pier, which is obviously the other side. So in this case, with the HQ, as I call it, my home. I use my home one as the what do you call it? I suppose server side, as you would, or the initiator, because that's one of the static IP. Because obviously, as you've seen just before, one of the limitations is I don't have a static IP address like I did at the previous DR setup. I don't have a public static IP address. It's actually CGNAT, and then it's a double NAT to the router. So it's as much NAT as you can get. So that's obviously far from ideal for these sort of things. But luckily, WireGuard just work. But obviously, you need a static IP on the other end. So my home internet connection, I don't have a static. I've got CGNet at home as well on my full fiber connection. But as you see, if you look at my previous some of my videos, I've done a few of this. I'm using a L2TP VPN connection from Andrews and Arnold's, or AAISP. I pay about £10 a month for that, and basically that gives you basically their internet connection, but a tunnel. So I get a static IP address with that, which is what I need for some of my things still. So that's what I'm using there. So the WireGuard is set to it sets up like a network interface, so on OPT8, and then you just go to peers. So you set up your peer in there. I've only got /31 because it's only site to site, so you need a couple of IP addresses. You got an IP address this end, IP address the other end, and you route between them basically. So it's not much to it really, just settings, and you can go to status here. You can see the tunnels up. You can see how many. I can see I've already done 4.42 TB bits. That's because I had to replicate my. It's actually more than that. I don't know why it's. I don't know. It must have rolled over or so. But I've actually done about 11 probably done. It could be over 20 TB bytes by now, between my house and this DR site, because I had to replicate from scratch my TV shows and films because I moved them onto a different hard drives. So they want a different. Called TreeNAS. They want a different data set and everything like that, or data pool, I should call it. Data pool, or different data pools. So I had to do it from scratch, so that's fun. But that was a good test of WireGuard. It did work. I had to do some messing around with MTU, MSS, and stuff like that. As many MSS I was fiddling around with, because it's not ideal. I've got it running through, like I said, from the home end, it's running through the Andrews and Arnold's LTTP VPN, so it's basically a VPN within a VPN, which is obviously not ideal. Hence, I've had to treat the MSS for the MTU down a bit for that to work, to get the throughput there. So, but I get about 400 to 500 megabits a second in each direction, which I think is pretty good. So that's how I got the site to site set up. And in terms of routing, because basically you set this up and they connect to each other, and then what you do then is it's actually in there's routing here. So you can see the gateway. You configure a gateway here, and then the static routes you set to. So these are the subnets at my house, the HQ subnets, and you tell them which. To use that WireGuard gateway, and you do the same, but obviously in reverse for the other side. So that's how you set up. It's a bit like for the IPsec, you have your what do you call it? You have your the main tunnel, and then you have your sub tunnels. Can't remember the name for them now, but if you don't know, we've done IPsec. It's a similar thing, but obviously this way it's a bit more simply. All you have to remember is just do some static roots, and then it just works. So yeah, I'm more than happy with that. And like I said, performance is pretty good as well, because obviously this isn't a powerful system either. So I've stack a store sometimes with encryption. But yeah, so that's basically the router firewall setup there. And next thing I'll show you how I got the virtual machine set up. So I switched over from using VMware to XCP-ng and Xen Orchestrator because the VMware I was running was quite old, and I basically saw some videos on this from Lawrence Systems. He's got some really good in-depth videos of how all this works. So yeah, go and check him out. But yeah, so basically, I'm running the free open source version. The XCP-ng itself, you can just download that for free, open source. Xen Orchestrator, this appliance here, to get it. All the features, but get most of the features in this. This is the one you self-compile and build. Again, Lawrence Systems has got a great guide on how to do that using some nice scripts, so it's not as hard as it used to be. So, but yeah, so this is actually, because I'm running it at both sites now, and it's all basically uniform. So all the machines are showing in this one interface, which is really nice. Before I had to log into separate VMware ES6i GUIs. I'm sort of managing them separately, but now it's all in one, which is great. So you actually see this is my full setup. So this is the VMs I've got running at my house and at my DR site. Obviously, the ones that are DR, I've appended DR. So at DR, I've got a domain controller running over there. I've got a Plex server, which is actually also running Cloudflare tunnel as well for some things, and a PRTG server running over there as well for monitoring. And then I've got the NAS. So you can see if you go to here and hosts, you can see I've got the ones over at my house. I've got host 01 and host 02 running in the cluster, and then host ER is running its own pool and cluster. So you can see that then shows you all the stats about the Dell server I've got. You see it's got 24. I think they're calls, I think they're threads, but yeah, cause it's I think it's a 12 core server, but no, I've got 64 gigs of RAM, and that's mainly VLANs, 5 network things on that, and then disks as well. So, but yeah, so it gives you a nice overview there. You can see what it's been doing recently as well. The console, it's nice. So yeah, these are the network set up on here. So I've got the VLAN set up. But yeah, you see, I've got the bond there. That's to the PFX motor, and a couple of VLANs on there. That's the management address for the server. So, but yeah, so you can see that's running there. And I got a couple of SSDs, just normal SATA SSDs running both the XCP-ng operating system and the VM storage, but it's running in a RAID 1. So if one SSD dies, then the other one will take over. So again, it's a bit of a compact system because it's a tower server. So, but yeah, and then of course I've got 4 14 terabyte hard drives in there. So if we hop over to the NAS, so yeah, I run TrueNAS Core both at home and at my DR site. I did look at Scale recently, but I'm just not ready to make that switch yet, because all I use this for is literally a NAS. We're not using any of the bells and whistles that Scale can give you. I did look at that as a potential replacement as well, Scale, but due to the weird network and stuff it does with the Kubernetes and everything like that, it just wasn't for me. So there we go. But yeah, so still running TrueNAS Core for now. Like I said, I've got 4 14 terabyte hard disks. If we go into disks, yeah, so there they are there, the 4 14 terabyte, obviously a bit less when you format them. So I literally pulled them from the other server and imported the pull into this. Well, I imported the config into this one, so it makes it nice and easy. So these are, you're going to scream at this, but they are running in Stripe mode. So yeah, there's no redundancy. So if any one of these just dies, then the whole lot's gone. Obviously not ideal. I was planning, as doing this upgrade, I was planning to replace the full 14 terabytes with 4 20 terabytes, and then run them in like a RAID C1 or something, to give some redundancy, and also increase storage, because I've had to increase storage at my house. But yeah, unfortunately, I had a horrid experience with on eBay. I thought I found a deal on some hard disks. The seller was it said seller was in the UK, had a UK address, company's house, all that, and then the hard drives, when I got the tracking through eventually, because I needed them obviously for this project to put it in by a certain date, and I'd ordered it plenty in advance, but it basically they were coming from China, so I said I don't want to know. It was going to come too late, and I said no, you've lied to me, and everything like that. So I've had real hassle with that, and I've been stung with import duties. I don't even have the discs anymore because I sent them back to their UK address because I didn't want them. I'm sticking to these for now. Until I can find another deal on some newer hard drives. But there we go. So that's the sort of setup. It's my NAS setup. So it's running as a virtual machine. I know that's frowned upon, but again, it's space. Can't have too many servers, clogging up my relative's house. So it works. So happy with that. If we hop over, this is the true NAS at my house, or HQ. So essentially what I do is I replicate it. So I've got some replication tasks. I've actually set up 2 because obviously I've got the 2 pools now. So that's the original task there. That's still going. And then that's the new one I had to set up for TV shows and film. The only thing I've had to change is I found especially when I was doing this big replication here, it was 11 terabytes. So I found it was going really slow. I say slow. It was bursting. It would burst up to like 300-400 meg, and it would go down to like 2 meg. It was very up and down like a jigsaw on the traffic graph. So I was like, so I was doing messing around, like, so that's why I was messing around with MSS and MTUs and everything like that. But then I found that, because I was just using SSH, which I've been for years, but then I've switched now, just as I was trying all these different things, tried to SSH plus Netcat, and I found it's a lot more stable then. It was actually staying at, stable 2 to 3 or even 400 meg second speed, rather than the ups and downs. So I set them both now to SSH plus Netcat, and they're going okay. So that replicates everything from there. And the good thing as well, if you jump back onto Xen Orchestrator here, is the backups. So I've got a couple of backups tasks here. I've got my main one that backs up all, that's actually pull and metadata there. And I've got the production daily backup backs up all the VMs that I want backing up at my house. That's done on like tags. So you can see it's on, the tag prod, because it all works on tags. But so that basically backs up every night, and then I do these about 8 o'clock in the morning. I do the backup to the DR VM. So basically all of the virtual machines and the XCP configs from both servers are all backed up onto the true NAS at my house, and then in turn obviously that gets replicated to the DR site. So everything's backed up. And the good thing as well, because I've got them both running XCP and J, if I needed to bring up a machine, say there was a DR scenario and I need to bring up a particular VM over my DR site, I could even do a migration from here as well. You can just go to a VM and you can sort of migrate that over as well. So yeah, so you can migrate that. You can select the host, so you can select host 2 on here at home or at the DR site. So that's really cool that you can do that, those migrations. So yeah, so that's why I really like that. But yeah, so that's I think that's pretty much my disaster recovery setup there. Like I said, check out some of my other videos. Like I've got the main one here, Home Lab one here, since I've had my solar system installed. I might do another one as well this year, 2024, because I've made a lot of changes at home as well. I've gone to Dell servers, like from some old Stone Intel ones. So yeah, I've had some upgrades. So yeah, keep an eye out for videos, and if you want, get subscribed, and hopefully done another video soon. But other than that, thank you for watching, and goodbye.